Hi, these are reflections from Scripture with Ernie Coop. And today's text is found in Philippians chapter 2, verses 6 to 8. Who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself to become obedient to death, even death on a cross. In the Old Testament, God spoke at different times with Abraham, with Moses, with other prophets, with the children of Israel, and yet none of these interventions could compare with what happened later. God took on a new form. He took on human flesh. This is the most incredible lowering or reduction we could ever imagine. What could be less terrorizing than a newborn baby squirming in a cradle? In Jesus, newly born and lying in a manger, God found a new way to be present with humanity without creating fear. What condescension this implies. The incarnation that split history in two, yet had more animal witness than human witness. Think of the risk. In the incarnation, God stretched across the chasm of fear that separated him from his creation. But by removing this barrier, Jesus also became extremely vulnerable. As William Irwin Thompson says, the child born in the night among beasts, the sweet breath and steaming dung of beasts, and nothing is ever the same. Those who believe in God can never in a way be sure of him again. Once they have seen him in a stable, they can never be sure where he will appear, or to what lengths he will go, or to what ludicrous depths of self-humiliation he will descend in his wild pursuit of man. For those who believe in God, this birth signifies that God himself is never safe from us. And maybe that's the scary side of Christmas, the terror and the silence. He comes to us in such a way that we are always able to reject him. The same way that you could break the skull of a newborn as if it was an eggshell, or you could nail him to a cross when he's grown too much to break the skull. Kenosis is that technical term that theologians use to describe the form in which Jesus emptied himself of the advantages of his divinity. Ironically, at the same time this emptying implies great humility, it also implies a certain type of liberty. You see, Christ's physical body allowed him to act on a human level without the disadvantages of divinity. He could say what he wanted without having his voice blast the treetops. He could express his anger, call Herod a fox, or take a whip in the temple without having his presence shake the earth. More than that, he could speak with any human being, with the prostitute, the blind, the widowed, the leper, without having to start with, "Don't be afraid." It was an amazing thing that man should be made in the image of God, but that God take on human flesh that's even greater. John Donne. Our passage again. Who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross. Philippians 2, verses 6 to 8.